Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My guests tonight are Janet Molen from Life Celebration. She'll be here to talk about the program coming up tomorrow. Janice Thomas and Gail Miller, both from Media Arts Alliance. They'll be talking about black films. As you know, we always start the show out by reading letters from the viewers, and I would love to encourage you to write. I just love receiving your letters, and I promise I'll write you back. To write to the William Pace Show, write to P.O. Box 3644, Dayton, Ohio 45401. That's P.O. Box 3644, Dayton 45401. The first letter is from Alula Brown of Dayton. She says, "Dear William, you really are looking good these days. How many pounds have you lost and how many pounds do you have to go? I really enjoy your show. You are a tremendous talent. Good luck to you." Well, thank you for writing, Lula. I have lost 70 pounds with 40 more to go. We're going to send you a gift certificate to Esther Price Candy. The last letter is from the Hamlin family of Dayton. "We love you, William, and your show. Every Wednesday night we gather in the living room to watch the William Pace Show. You are delightful, entertaining, but most important, you are sincere, and in today's time, that's a rare commodity. Your biggest fans, the Hamlin family." Well, thank you for writing, and we're going to send you also a box of Esther Price candy. Coming up, we're going to be talking to Janice Thomas and Gail Miller of Media Arts Alliance. Stay with us. Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My guests tonight are Janice Thomas and Gail Miller, both co-founders of Media Arts Alliance. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Tell me, why did you start Media Arts Alliance?
Well, Gail and I are both filmmakers. There's also one other filmmaker, Askia Holloway. We thought that we needed a network of African-American artists, and not just filmmakers, but if you look on the credits of a film, you'll see a long list of people who are involved in filmmaking, from hairdressers to caterers, you know, all types. So we wanted to build a network of African Americans who are interested in all aspects of film, and we could help each other out and help each other hone our skills. And we wanted to introduce film to young people, because I don't think that young African Americans, I don't think film is an avenue that they ever decide to take.
Explore.
Yeah, yeah, and we wanted to maybe have workshops, that kind of thing, to help African Americans and other minorities hone their skills, learn new skills that they like to, and just create a network where we can help each other.
Certainly. And I guess also another reason why you started, I would think too, is because there aren't enough opportunities for blacks in pictures. And you know, recently at the Oscars, they had Reverend Jesse Jackson out on the street boycotting the Oscars at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. And do you think going to that extreme is what it's going to take to get people to really take us seriously?
Yes.
To give us the opportunity?
I do.
And that not only just Dorothy Chandler, but there are film festivals such as Sundance and Toronto, whatever. Maybe a little boycotting there too may help, you know, bring light to our films and our presence or whatever, you know. But I think that the boycott was essentially necessary because it brought attention to people who had never thought about the lack of. We're so used to not being there that it's second nature to expect us to not be there. And we're saying, hey, no, let us in. We deserve to be here also. So I think that the boycott was necessary and effective.
And you think that some people would say, there is a group of society that would say that they had Quincy Jones as executive producer, that's a blackface. They had Whoopi Goldberg as host of the Oscars, that's a blackface. And they had Oprah Winfrey out on the street, another blackface. But that's not enough.
None of them were nominated for anything. None of them were nominated for Best Actress, Best Soundtrack. It's like you can serve us dinner, but you can't sit down and eat at the table with us.
And also, those people are, quote unquote, popular people. You know, they've passed over, they're acceptable among, you know, major America, but what about the underdogs, those little people you haven't heard of yet? There's plenty of talent. There's a gentleman, I can't recall his name right now, but he did the soundtrack. He worked on the soundtrack for the Indian epic that Kevin Costner did. And
Braveheart.
no.
Braveheart was the,
But anyway, he won an Oscar for his work on that, but you don't know who he is. You know, and when he's on set now, the security guards follow him around to make sure he's not stealing equipment. Here, Oscar award winning.
So you think racism, in fact, I know it is, racism is alive and well in America today?
Yeah, of course it is. America was built on racism.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to note that in 1950, the Nat King Cole show was #1 in the ratings, but he couldn't get sponsors. So the show went off the air.
That's a tragedy.
And not much
It
has
really
changed.
is.
No.
It hasn't changed much since 1950.
And I can attest myself, being, you know, an African-American male, with all that I've done, that, you know, if I had been white, they would have just rolled out the carpet for me and given me all kinds of opportunities. Every opportunity that I have now, have gotten, I've had to work extremely hard for it, you know.
Right.
And, but I want to ask you too, that what actors should have been nominated for Oscars last year, and what films should have been nominated, black films?
Actors, I believe Angela Bassett should have been nominated for Waiting to Exhale. She's a great actress.
I love that strut. Did you love that strut after
Right.
she set the car
She is
afire?
She's a wonderful actress, and I'm really sorry that she was overlooked. The soundtrack for Waiting to Exhale is still playing. Babyface wasn't even considered.
And I like Don Cheadle, who played Mouse in Devil in the Blue Dress. I feel that nobody could have topped him in that role. And he should have gotten a supporting actor nomination. He should have won that category, you know, but he wasn't even nominated.
Well, you know, they, speaking about the Oscars, so much of what they do has no rhyme or reason to it. You know, I read an article by Elizabeth Taylor. She said that her best work was not for Butterfield 8, it was for A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. But she didn't get nominated. She didn't get an Oscar for A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. She got it for Butterfield 8. So many times your best work, you don't get an Oscar for it.
Right. Well, the Oscar system is political. Just like the year Malcolm X came out, there's no way Denzel should not have walked home with that boy. But who they give it to? Was it Gene Hackman or somebody, because it was time to give him one?
You know what I think is funny is what Spike Lee said, you know, that he was going to, if he didn't get nominated or if he didn't win, he was going to bomb the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. I thought that was hilarious.
Black man does not say something like that. We'll take him seriously.
But so often there is no rhyme to reason to the Oscars. I want to talk a little bit about the various divisions of Media Arts Alliance. I understand you have a youth division.
Yeah, we have a youth division. It targets ages 10 to 17. In fact, they have a fundraiser coming up real soon that they're going to be earning money for production. They're going to be responsible for writing, planning, producing, and exhibiting their own production, which will premiere at the film festival we're having in October. And we're looking forward to their pieces. I'm sure it's going to be so wonderful. Mainly they consist of females right now, but we're looking for guys and, you know, other youth to join them. They're having a wonderful time and they're anxious for others to join them.
Now, how old do you have to be involved as a youth?
As a youth, 10 is the youngest that we have right now. If someone was younger, had talent, or had the strong desire, you know, they're welcome. I mean, my daughter, she's 10 now, but she started being a production assistant for me at the age of 4. I mean, you know, so.
I think that's a wonderful opportunity because there's so many youth that need to be challenged, that need opportunities, that need to have something in their life, you know, and it might just make the difference of succeeding in life or not, you know.
Well, you know, when I was younger, I remember the first time I saw a black person on a television commercial, I was like, oh, wow, look at that. You know, and it's like in the media, it's not an area that young people think about going into a lot unless they want to be a singer or an actor, and there's so much more that they can do, and we're just hoping to open this avenue of exposure for them.
Exactly.
And I understand you're going to have a film festival coming up in October?
Yes, the name of it is Misasa, and Janice will tell you about that.
Misasa comes from the African tribe Mbundu. The Once Upon a Time Tales of Africa. And we thought that would be a great name for our films, because that's what we're doing. We're telling a tale. In the African storytelling, you tell a tale, and mostly for entertainment, but they say if you learn something, it's an added plus, or if you enlighten people about a culture. So that's what we're trying to do. So we thought Misasa would be a great name for our film festival. It'll be in October 18th and 19th.
Right, at the Neon. And we've invited Tim Reed to bring Once Upon a Time We Were Colored, and also Spike Lee to bring Get on the Bus, since that's the premiere weekend for that show. So we're hoping both of them will accept our invitations. And we're courting emerging artists all across North America to submit entries.
Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and we look forward to hearing more about the film festival.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. There's more to come. Stay with us. Good evening, I'm William Pace. Tonight my guest is Janet Molan. She's a volunteer for Life Connection of Ohio, and this Sunday they're celebrating Life Celebration 1996. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Certainly, William.
I want to ask you, how long have you been a volunteer for Life Connection of Ohio?
For 10 years now, and it's gone through some name changes in that time, last 10.
And you have sort of a special reason for being a volunteer. You want to tell us why?
Almost 10 years ago, my son Greg was killed in a car accident and was an organ donor, and my therapy, so to speak, was to get involved in organ donation, which was a big help in the grieving process.
Wonderful. And as a result, you're involved in the Life Connection of Ohio, and you do a lot of volunteer work, and one of the projects you're working on right now is the celebration, which is tomorrow, I guess.
Right.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
This is, it's going to be a very upbeat reception. We don't want it to sound like a ceremony heavy. Just recognizing donor families. A lot of times the recipients, get the media coverage and stories written about them because they've received the organ, but if it weren't for the donors themselves, that wouldn't happen. So we want to recognize those families. We have about 150 people coming.
Now, 10 years ago, your son was in a car accident and he died, but he had signed up to be a donor to give certain organs. Which organs?
He was a total organ donor, everything, including tissue, eyes, ear bones, in addition to the major organs, even bones, bone marrow. They can use unbelievable things.
At 18, what made him decide to do that?
I really don't know. I know that he'd gotten his chauffeur's license because he had a summer job when he was off from Ohio State, working for a moving and storage company, and he got his chauffeur's license and showed it to me, and I happened to see it, and that was probably a month before the accident. So I knew. Unfortunately, most people don't know. So a lot of what we do is to talk and create awareness, so you'll go home and talk to your family and tell them yes or no, but at least they'll know if you do want to be a donor or if you don't, and at least discuss it.
Now tell me this, if, say, I wanted to be a donor, sign up to be a donor in case of death or something like that, but say my father didn't want me to be and said no way, then what would happen in that case? When
you die, your body no longer belongs to you. It belongs to your next of kin, so they have the ultimate decision on that. So that's why it's important you stress to them what you want and hope that they'll carry out your wishes. That
they will do that. Even if you have a will that says, my body is to be donated, to...
By the time your will's read, it's a little too late. Those organs have to be retrieved very quickly.
Immediately, okay. So you followed the wishes of your son then?
Right. And it is a wonderful help in the grieving process. I got one letter, not directly, but through the transplant organization, from a woman who received one of his kidneys.
Oh, I bet that was...
And you read it and you know you did the right thing.
Because you feel like a part of him is still living, still here.
I do a lot of talking to high school driver's ed classes, and the easiest way to get through the concept to them is to ask them if they wreck their car and it's over in the junkyard, and there's a good stereo in that car, what are they going to do? They're going to go get that stereo out.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense. I want to talk a little bit about the quilt here that's on display here, and tell us a little bit more about the quilt.
This is a project that's fairly recent, started by the National Kidney Foundation. And each quilt is made by a donor family in honor of their loved one who has been a donor. There are 300 quilts, or squares for the quilt so far. This is 60 of them, so it's gotten rather large. I found it very interesting looking at some of them because we tend to think of, oh, you've got to be young and very healthy and vital to be a donor, but I noticed one right here where the man was 73 years old. So age is not necessarily a factor.
So each one of these blocks represent like a family then?
Right.
Okay, so how many families are on here? About maybe
This would be 60 families,
60
I believe.
families.
So
And
it's
this is-
1/5 of what there is.
And this is going to be on display tomorrow at the
Right.
celebration too.
And they travel around and they're available to be on display at different organ donor functions.
Now, where will the celebration be tomorrow?
It's at Green Country Club in Fairborn.
Okay, and you want to tell us the time?
It's from 3 to 5. As I said, we have about 150 people coming, and we have a speaker. He's going to be speaking on dealing with stress by using humor, so we want to keep it upbeat.
Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about so many people have concerns about donating organs. They feel like maybe their bodies will be disconstructed, or they might look terrible or something like that. Are these really valid concerns?
Do you know anyone who's had an appendectomy? They take out that appendix, and you look pretty normal afterwards. When the organs are removed, it's the same surgical procedure used whether you're alive or not, and you're sewn back together, and there is no evidence. If you choose, you can have an open casket. Even if they remove bones, they'll put artificial rods in your legs, so you will look perfectly normal.
So there really are no valid reasons then not to be a donor.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Gotta go, but I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, feeling like I do. Maybe I am living in the past. But when I find the right gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. Can't look at harbors, and I can't stand fences. Don't fancy western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountain rise. I wanna ride to the ridge where the west commences, gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. Can't look at harbors, and I can't stand fences. Don't